Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to answer from your gut, not your head. How long are you going to let that power inside you sleep? How long will you keep negotiating with your fears, dancing with your doubts, and settling for average when extraordinary is in your DNA? Because deep inside you, yes you, is a giant, and that giant is not quiet. That giant is not weak. That giant is not meant for a life of mediocrity. That giant was born to dominate, but here's the truth. You've been trained to shrink, conditioned to play small, taught to doubt yourself, and I'm here to break that chain right now. There's a force inside you that's more powerful than any challenge, more unstoppable than any fear, and more real than any excuse you've ever told yourself. It's not something you have to earn, create, or go searching for in the outside world. It's already there, within you. From the moment you took your first breath, that power was present. It's the drive that whispers when things get tough. It's the fire that flickers when everyone else gives up. But the problem isn't whether the power exists. It's whether you've chosen to access it. Most people live their lives as if they're powerless, as if greatness is reserved for someone else. Someone with more talent, more money, more support, or more luck. That's a lie. The truth is, the most successful, fulfilled, and driven individuals simply made a decision to unlock what's already inside. They decided to stop living from the outside in and start living from the inside out. The giant within you doesn't respond to conditions. It doesn't care what the economy is doing or who doubted you. It only responds to certainty, to a state of mind where you decide with absolute clarity to lead your life instead of reacting to it. You weren't born to be average. You weren't born to play small. But over time, you may have forgotten that. You've been surrounded by limitations, told to be realistic, reminded of your failures. But none of that changes the truth. You're not missing anything. You already have the creativity, the strength, the courage, and the drive to create the life you've imagined. You just need to stop suppressing it. When you connect with that power, even for a moment, something shifts. You walk differently, you speak differently, you no longer wait for permission or perfect timing. You move asterisk, you act asterisk, you lead asterisk, because the real you, the giant isn't passive, it's bold, it's fearless. It's hungry, and once it's awake, there's no turning back. This isn't about hype. It's about truth. It's about finally realizing that everything you've ever needed to transform your life is already there right now. The only question is, will you unleash it or let it sleep for another day? The choice is yours. From the moment we're born, we begin absorbing belief. It's not just from our families, but from school, society, media, and our surroundings. Little by little, we're trained to limit our vision, to doubt ourselves, and to fit into boxes that others have built. You're told what's possible, what's realistic, and what people like you can or can't do. Over time, this conditioning becomes your truth. It starts to define how you think, how you act, and how you show up in the world. And the most dangerous part, most people don't even realize it's happening. They think their thoughts are their own, but in reality, their mindset is just a collection of inherited limitations. When you look at the greatest achievers in any field, you'll notice something powerful. They rejected the story they were given. They refused to accept the idea that they were ordinary. They didn't buy into the lie that they had to settle. They broke the pattern, and that's exactly what you need to do if you're going to unleash the giant within. You need to recognize that playing small isn't humility. It's fear wearing a mask, staying silent when you want to speak, holding back when you should go all in, shrinking your dreams to fit someone else's comfort zone. That's not noble. That's betrayal, a betrayal of your own soul. You've been taught to avoid pain, to play it safe, to seek approval. But the giant within doesn't care about approval. It doesn't want safe. It wants freedom. And freedom only comes when you're willing to break the invisible walls that have been placed around your mind. That means becoming aware of your thoughts, catching yourself in the act of self-doubt, and then choosing a different response, one that's based on truth, not fear, one that reflects your potential, not your past. It doesn't matter how long you've been conditioned. It doesn't matter how many times you've settled before. What matters is the moment you decide to reclaim your mind. Because when you do, the conditioning starts to break. And in its place, your real self, your giant, begins to rise. And when that happens, your world changes. Not slowly, not someday, instantly. The shift begins the moment you say, enough is enough. I'm done playing small. I'm ready to become who I was born to be. There's a lie that most people have bought into. The belief that their life is a product of their circumstances. That if they were born into a better family, had more education, more money, or more support, then things would be different. But that's not the truth. The truth is, it's not your conditions that shape your life. It's your decisions. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every moment of real change starts with a decision. Not a wish, not a hope. A decision backed by absolute commitment. The moment you decide that enough is enough, that you're no longer available for anything less than the life you deserve, everything begins to shift. People wait around for their situation to change, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right resources. But that waiting is a trap, because the power is never in the conditions. It's always in your hands. One powerful decision can override a lifetime of conditioning. One committed choice can redirect your entire path. And once you realize that, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the creator of your destiny. It's not that people don't want more from life, it's that they haven't decided to demand more from themselves. Every extraordinary life is built on a foundation of powerful decisions. Decisions to rise when it's easier to stay down. Decisions to believe in yourself when no one else does. Decisions to push forward even when fear screams at you to quit. The quality of your life comes down to the quality of the choices you make, moment to moment, day by day. And that's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the leaders, the spectators from the giants. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's the discipline of decision. When you realize that you are one decision away from a completely different life, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming your past. And you start stepping into your power, because real transformation doesn't require perfect conditions. It just requires you to decide that you're done waiting, done hoping, done tolerating less than you deserve. The moment you make that kind of decision, with no back door, no escape plan, no excuses, that's the moment the giant within you takes over. That's when life bends in your favor. Growth never happens in comfort. The truth is, everything you want, every dream, every breakthrough, every version of your best self, lives on the other side of discomfort. Yet most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. They avoid failure, rejection, judgment, and anything that makes them feel uncertain or exposed. But what they don't realize is that in avoiding discomfort, they're also avoiding greatness. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the signal that you're entering a new level of possibility. It's the stretching of your limits. It's the resistance that shapes you into who you're meant to become. When you push your body in the gym, what happens? Your muscles tear, rebuild, and grow stronger. The pain is part of the process. It's the same with your mind, your emotions, your leadership, and your purpose. If you never stretch yourself, never challenge the edges of your identity, you stay the same. You can't expect to live an extraordinary life while clinging to the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that created an ordinary one. Comfort zones are psychological prisons. They feel safe, but they slowly suffocate your potential. The giant within you doesn't emerge when you play it safe. It doesn't come alive when everything is going your way. It wakes up when you do the hard things, when you lean into fear, when you face down your excuses and move forward anyway. Discomfort forces you to grow, to adapt, to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. It reveals your strength, it builds your courage, and it reconnects you to your power. There is no breakthrough without breakdown. There is no elevation without resistance. You cannot master your life from the couch of convenience. You've got to be willing to sweat, to stumble, to get uncomfortable enough to find out what you're really made of. Every time you say yes to discomfort, you're saying yes to growth. You're expanding your capacity. You're becoming more, and the more you embrace discomfort, the more you train your nervous system to understand that challenge is not danger, it's opportunity. So when the fear rises, when the tension shows up, when everything in you wants to pull back, that's the moment to lean in. Because that's when transformation happens. That's when the giant inside you begins to roar. Every one of us walks around with a story, a narrative we've built over the years based on our past experiences, our failures, our triumphs, and especially our pain. That story becomes the filter through which we see the world, and worse, through which we see ourselves. But the truth is, most people are living not in the reality of what's possible, but in the prison of their old story. Maybe your story says you're not good enough. Maybe it says you always mess things up, or that people can't be trusted, or that success is for others. Whatever it is, if it's rooted in fear, limitation, or regret, then it's not the truth. It's a script that's been running your life without your permission. If you want to unleash the giant within, you must tear up the script. You've got to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. And that's not easy because your story feels familiar. It's become your identity, but familiarity isn't freedom. Comfort isn't power, and until you make the decision to let go of who you were, you can never become who you're meant to be. The old story was written by the part of you that was trying to survive. The new story is written by the part of you that's ready to thrive. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your failures. You are the author of your future. And at any moment, you can take the pen back and choose a different narrative. You can decide that your past was preparation, not punishment. That your mistakes made you stronger. That every time you were knocked down, it was the giant inside you learning how to rise. When you rewrite your story from that place, you don't just change your perspective. You change your power. Because the new story isn't based on limitation, it's built on truth. The truth that you are powerful, resilient, and worthy of more than you've allowed yourself to receive. The moment you reclaim that identity, the real one, the one that isn't shaped by fear, you don't need permission. You move differently. You speak with certainty. You stop apologizing for your dreams and start pursuing them with everything you've got. That's when the giant truly begins to awaken. This journey is not just about you. It may start with your personal growth, your transformation, your awakening, but the impact of unleashing the giant within you ripples far beyond your own life. When you choose to rise, when you decide to step into your highest self, you give others permission to do the same. The world is starving for leadership, for courage, for authenticity. It's hungry for people who are bold enough to be fully alive, and when you commit to that path, you become a beacon, not by preaching, but by example. People watch how you walk, how you respond, how you handle adversity, and in that silent observation, they begin to believe that they can rise too. Every choice you make to grow affects the people around you. Your family, your team, your community, they all feel it. When you raise your standards, you raise the standards of everyone you touch. When you break through your fears, you create space for others to face theirs. Your energy becomes contagious. That's the power of one person fully awakened. One person stepping into their power can shift an entire environment. The way you show up starts to disrupt complacency in others. It challenges excuses. It inspires action. That's what leaders do. That's what giants do. And this isn't about perfection. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show what it looks like to keep growing. People don't connect with flawless heroes. They connect with real humans who have struggled, who have fallen, and who have gotten back up again stronger. That's where the influence comes from. Not in being untouchable, but in being real and rising anyway. Your story, your resilience, your transformation, it matters. It's not a luxury. It's a responsibility. When you unleash the giant within, you don't just elevate your own life. You become a force that elevates others. You create impact without even trying because your life becomes a message. A message that says, this is what's possible. You'll never even fully know how many people you're affecting just by being bold enough to be fully alive. That's legacy, that's leadership. And that's why this journey isn't selfish. It's sacred. Because the world doesn't need more people playing small. It needs more giants fully awake, fully alive, and fully committed to being a living example of what's possible.